Alistair, welcome back to Investor Stream. A comprehensive update out yesterday on the fact that work has commenced on development of the Stage 1 processing plant at Kangankundi, a significant project in its own right, even before you construct the larger Stage 2 plant. Now, the ASX announcement has a lot of information. Can you just highlight the key areas of focus for you right now?
Well, we started off with saying what kind of size of operation do we want? And we spent a fair bit of time discussing what's the optimum structure of the process plant going forward. And we come up with this perspective that why don't we install 2 mills? So let's go for a first stage 220,000 tonne milling circuit, duplicate it once we've got the first one operation and commissioning, and duplicate it and design a plant around that kind of configuration. So it was a big part of the logic around what does this operation look like. So now we're putting all the pieces together around that, not just from design, but go right back to the very beginning. What does the mine design and mine planning look like? And we're scoping that right now. And we're talking about with mining contractors, how we implement a mining operation from this small scale, step to a larger scale, ultimately going to stage 2 in the future of 1.5 million tonnes per annum or something like that. So there's very preliminary early discussions like that with mining contractors. So then you come back and say, well, what do we need to do for the plant? There's lots of other things. Civil geotechnical engineering has been completed, so we understand what kind of cement structures we need to put under the plant to actually give it some ground stability. We need some water, so we've done a groundwater survey. We've done lots of civil engineering program design work on the process plant in terms of the layout, the water supply, power, way bridges, upgrading the access road to site, workshops, admin buildings. What does a tailing storage facility look like? All in the view of, hey, let's not forget, this is an interim plant. It's stage 1. Stage 2 is coming in the future. So think strategically and make sure we accommodate in that footprint a stage 2 operation. Then we're getting down to the fact that, well, we're going to have to actually ship our products. So there's transport and logistics, and importantly, community engagement. And we've already started that, obviously, through the whole drilling program that we've been doing so far. But we've had a formal agreement with the local community about what does the upgrade for the road look like and what's the impact on the community. And the next stage will be to tell them about what does the process plant look like, and then piece together what are the opportunities for the community, not only in terms of direct employment, but indirect employment and various services and provisions that the local community can provide and help us with. So there's been a lot of engineering work in the background going on. And I guess part of this is it's an interim statement of where we are with the design process at this point in time. And we wanted to tell shareholders was this is where we are now. This is the roadmap that we're going to go towards, and this is the timetable we're anticipating. So interim statement on the progress we have with the engineering program. So what you see is a future program looking at the milestones that we need to achieve that will update shareholders with in the future.
Excellent. So as part of this, you're working on a feasibility study which will show the financial metrics of this first stage. A couple of questions here. Firstly, what's the likely timing of this? And also, you've stated there's a number of funding options open to you. Can you just give us any indication about the type of parties you're talking to? And is interest building, given that rare earths are becoming increasingly critical for the world's largest economies outside of China?
Right. First step is, yes, it's a study document. What we need to do is we've got a mineral resource estimate coming up very shortly within the next weeks. And that's mostly going to be probably an inferred resource statement. And we need to infill some of that drilling to upgrade it to an indicated resource. The reason we're doing that is some strict guidelines, but not only with the JORC Ore Resource Committee guidelines, but ASX listing rules. So it's designed around infilling the drilling, upgrading to indicated resource. Once we've got down towards the end of the year, we'll have a lot better handle on the fixed costs associated with capital installments. So, civil engineering plus plant equipment plus plant installation. And then on top of that, we'll start searching around for OPEX. So what does the mining unit rate looks like? What's our power costs? What are labour costs? And what does our organisation look like once we get into operations? So I would anticipate by the end of the year, early 2024, we'll have completed that study document. So what else do you need in that parallel with that? Well, you actually need marketing agreements. So we've had a lot of interest from many parties, both inside Asia and outside Asia, but mostly outside Asia at this point in time, and extremely interested in the type of concentrate we're producing. Just to recap on that, it's a non-radioactive monazite concentrate. So it is basically marketable anywhere in the world. It doesn't have the attributes of some of the other rare earth projects which have radiation to contend with in terms of transportation and processing. That leads us then to early 2024. We'll be able to position this and say to the shareholders in the market, this is what the project looks like. Remembering, with this kind of production profile, we will certainly be within the top 10 producers of rare earth mines in the world. So mine planning, logistics, capital costs, operating costs, marketing agreements are going to be a very important fundamental process in the next 6 months as we get this project into construction and ultimately into production. So what are the other things we need to do with that? Is there's engagement with the community, there's engagement with the government, there'll be engagement with marketing groups and seeking interests for offtake agreements.
So, Alistair, just on the drilling, the MRE is close, or the mineral resource estimate, and the second diamond drill hole is clearly going well. Can you tell us what the core is looking like here, and what's the likely scope of this planned infill drilling program?
Core's looking good. In terms of the infill program, it really comes down to statistical analysis of the current drilling and what kind of spacing we need with drill holes to actually get us from an inferred to an indicated resource. So we're currently going through that exercise at the moment, because if you overspace it or underspace it, you won't achieve the appropriate indicated resource, or you might overdrill it and waste money. So we're doing that very carefully and planning that out. The MRE is due in the next couple of weeks. It's not far away at all with assays coming through the lab. I can tell you that the visual textures of what we're seeing in the deep drilling is very encouraging. And those assays will come through in the next few months.
Thanks, Alistair. Appreciate the update and all the best.
Thank you.